Hi guys, it's Sapphire Star and welcome to Organized Chaos. Welcome to my world. Um, I'm headed to California for a 13-week assignment in Palm Springs and I'm super excited and I'm currently at the airport. Let's see, can I turn the camera around? I don't know. Currently at the airport and while I'm here, I thought it would be a great opportunity to come on and share with you some housing tips and tricks and strategies when you are a traveler. The tips and strategies that I'm going to share with you in this video is not specifically for travel laboratory scientists. Um, this information can be used for all travel healthcare professional, whether it's travel scientists, respiratory therapists, phlebotomists, nurses. I'm a clinical laboratory scientist, so that's why I titled it Travel Laboratory Scientist Housing. So once you've decided where you're going to go, first thing I would recommend is that you join um, Facebook communities and connect with other travelers to get as much information as you can about a particular area. So a really good Facebook group for travel professionals is the Gypsy Travel Facebook group. And they have a Gypsy Travel Facebook group and they also have a Gypsy Travel Housing Facebook group. So the first thing I would recommend and suggest to you is join that Facebook group. Like I say, it's a great way to connect with other travelers, and also if you're looking for a particular place in a particular city, you can actually post in the Facebook group and find as much information as you can and possibly find a listing. I know I've found housing in these Facebook groups, and you can do a simple search before you even ask the question and just type in the city where you're going, and you can potentially find housing for your new contract. And so once you join those two groups, the first place I go when I'm going to a new city is I go to Facebook Marketplace. Like, that's my go-to resource, and not just for when I'm working, but also when I travel for leisure. Like, I travel for work and I travel for leisure. I go to Facebook Marketplace and search, put in the city where you're going, and start looking for a place. And one thing, let me back up a little bit. When you take an assignment, typically how it works with your pay package, it'll break down, you'll have housing per diem, transportation per diem, food and grocery per diem, right? And so for me, I always take the housing per diem and I find my own housing because I can keep more money. I can keep more money in my pocket. So with the housing per diem, the goal for me is to be able to find a place within my budget, and so I can save as much money as I can. So again, I opt to keep the housing per diem. I know some contracts, they do offer housing for you, but like I said, I opt out of that. Just give me all my coins, I'll find my own place. My very first assignment, I took housing, but I learned, like, oh no, once I found out how much they were giving for housing, I was like, oh no, I can find my own place and save money. So Facebook Marketplace, you can find housing. And then secondly, I go to Furnish Finders. This is a really good resource for travel professionals, travel scientists, travel nurses. Like I said, this is not just for travel scientists, but Furnish Finders is another good resource and good tool to be able to find housing where you're going in your new city. Actually, the assignment that I'm going on now, I found my place on Furnish Finders. Now, it's a roommate situation, and that's something that you may want to think about and consider before you, okay, this fly is not letting me be great. Before you take your assignment, is do you want your own place, do you want a private place, or do you want to have a roommate situation? They have all those options available to you on Furnish Finders, where you can rent a room or you can rent your own place. I'm going to California, and California can be very expensive. So I opted and I found a roommate situation literally across the street from the hospital, private entrance. I have a refrigerator and everything in my room, but in suite. Only the pool area and the living area and kitchen area is shared space. Other than that, I think it's a perfect, and they have a lot of reviews. That's one thing about Furnish Finders. You can find housing, because I know some people are skeptical about finding housing online, and Furnish Finders is great because you can actually read reviews of previous travelers who's used this particular accommodation. So with this particular accommodation that I have in Palm Springs, I'm saving on housing as well as transportation because I'm literally going to walk to work. My third resource for finding a place, once I decide where I'm going to go, is Airbnb. And Airbnb is really great too because you have reviews you can read to assure you that where you're going is what it says it is. You can read reviews, and also with Airbnb, because a lot of times with Airbnb you're getting nightly rates, right? But you do have the option, you can get discount for monthly rates. But even if that's not an option, what I recommend, and a trick and strategy I would suggest, is if you find a listing that fits your criteria, and they only offer nightly, I personally inbox the Airbnb host and ask them, especially if it's a great listing, ask them like, hey, is there an option for me to rent monthly and get a discount? Or I tell them like, hey, I have an assignment for 13 weeks. Can I rent the place for extended stay? And so that's something I have done in the past, especially when I've been in Hawaii. I found places on Airbnb and I just reached out to the host and they'll just tell you yes or no. Sometimes you'll find monthly listing, but like I said, if you don't find monthly listing, definitely just reach out to the host, and you never know, they may be willing to do that for you. And my last resource that I use is Craigslist. Now, so I know some people may be extremely reluctant to use Craigslist, and definitely with all these resources that I'm sharing with you, do not send anybody any money before you arrange your housing. Don't do that. You know, unless it's a platform like Airbnb where you have protection with your money. Do not send anybody any deposits or anything in advance, because I've used Craigslist before. I've never sent any money, but I've had scammers ask like, hey, you have to send a deposit in order for to fill out the application. I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. So the times that I have used Craigslist successfully, when I had a contract in Florida, Panama City Beach, I go look at the listing before, and I go talk to the individual before I book the housing. So I did use Craigslist once, and it was successful. Another tip and strategy I would recommend, especially if you're unable to find housing before you arrive to a place, or you're not comfortable looking for housing, especially if you're not familiar with the city where you're going to. What I've done in the past is I would book an Airbnb or a hotel stay for a week. And then once I get in the city, I'll take that week to find me a place. So don't fret if you're like, oh my God, I can't find a place and my contract is getting ready to begin. Simply just book your place for a week or two. And then while you're there on the ground, you can drive around and you can go look at some places. So those are my tips and tricks and strategies for finding houses for travel laboratory scientists and all travel healthcare professionals. If you have any question, please reach out to me. I have, you can send me a DM, or you can send me a message at info at organized-kaos.com, and happy traveling. Oh, please like, comment, subscribe, and share. You can also follow like me and all my travel shenanigans on Instagram at Sapphire Star 2Rs _ travel. All right, guys, I gotta get ready to board.